I got a separate PC that there right now.
You don't, if you're getting anything that doesn't open source anyway, otherwise it has
How's everybody doing tonight? Network Plus CDs. This is a DVDs for the Network Plus exam. I'm giving these out to pct130, but I thought you guys might be interested. The CompTIA Network Plus certification, which is middle ground certification, not Microsoft, not Cisco. I've got it and kept it up over a number of years. And this one here is for Network Plus certification. If you're interested, I have 6 DVDs. Anybody interested in it? It's about a $500–600 value. They sent them to me. So how many we got now? Oh, 5. I have to do some more duplicating. Now, like on the overhead, let me show you what it looks like when you guys install it at home or when you put it in your drive at home. I haven't installed it all the way on this machine, but there is a screen like this when it first comes up that has an install the simulator. It does have some software you have to download, but once you install it and download it, it basically goes through the CompTIA Network Plus simulator software, which if you've done any Cisco stuff before, which you might not have, if you have, you know what I'm talking about, where they have simulations of networking components like routers, switches, hubs, things like that, NIC cards. This is more towards the networking side of it, and it's a pretty cool software. This is supposed to be updated, so, but everything the book has, basically the DVD is going to have. So I tell students on the Network Plus simulator software to install it. It sets you through a login process initially. Go ahead and go through that process, and then you have to register the software. And then once you register it, you can then begin online learning through this PearsonITcertification.com. That actually has a whole bunch of IT certifications, even outside the scope of what we teach here, that you could actually, learn on your own, get certification for it. And so there are a whole bunch of certification guides. Just so you know, we are looking at CompTIA coming on campus for testing over in the testing center. Don't tell anybody yet, it's kind of secret right now. But anyway, it's supposed to be offered to students if you basically you get a pass for the first test. If you fail it, to take it again at no extra cost, and it's like a 30% off ticket, and so be well worth it. We're looking at probably next semester, hopefully having it implemented, and we won't be advertising it publicly. We'll just advertise it to our students basically to say it's available. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, there's your DVD for that. It's pretty self-explanatory when you load it up. But it's basically a simulator for the test, practice exam, hands-on skills development, reviewing, assessment for the actual exam. The exam is called 910005 is the exam for Network Plus. It actually says that when you load it on your DVD. So there you go. Okay, well tonight we're going to talk about risk assessment. We started talking a little bit Tuesday about it, about risk assessment and the differences in risk assessment and what it's about, the 4 steps. So we're going to kind of flesh this out and then let you guys go at it. I think I started talking Tuesday about what you'll be doing. You're looking at the RBC account password policy. There's a link to it. Now you could argue, why are you putting the link there? Why don't you just see if we figure out where it's at? I actually did that a few semesters ago, and about half the students couldn't find it, so I put it on there for you to find it. Initially, when I set this lab up, it was you find if there is anything out there on password policies. So I did put a direct link to it. Now, this goes to my RBC. I believe you have to dig a little bit, not too much, to find the password policy, if there is one, on that page, or used to be. So anyway, you'll find the password policy, or the lack thereof. When a person registers at RBC, they're given an account for an email communication and online services. You ask yourself these questions. Is the RBC account policy, password policy secure? How can this account password policy be exploited? Do students have to know how to change the password? And you have a week to do this, and so you can basically ask around, hey, do you guys know how to change your password? Or can you tell me how to change the password? I need to know.
No.
Just the people around you in your classes and stuff, or in the commons or whatever. And yeah, you already know they don't. But just ask in general, people that besides Alex, that doesn't work in support, already doesn't know. You'll find out quickly, but not to say every student doesn't know, but there's a majority that don't.
There are some 1%ers that
Yeah.
point to those.
Now, the number 4 is, do students know what a secure password is? So maybe in the same question of, do you know how to change the password? If they say no, you can say, I'm trying to figure out what a secure password is, and see what they say, see what their
Half of them will
kickback
tell you
is.
what their password is.
Yeah, here's mine. This is what I use. You can use it. And so the take home, basically, and we'll tackle it in just a second, is to find out your thoughts on the RBC account password policy, and we're going to go over in just a second in detail the 4 steps. The first is identifying the assets and the attributes for the accounts and passwords, determine what threat agents exist against the assets and by the threat agents, determine whether vulnerabilities exist that can be exploited by surveying the current security infrastructure, and make decisions regarding what to do about it. Remember, the decisions were accept it, transfer it, or do something about it, basically. See if you can change it. And so the first one is the attributes of the asset for those people that, or let's just, before I say that, what or who is the asset and asset of a account password scenario? Let's get down, I guess, to high level maybe. What do you think first thought is that you would say the first? No wrong answer.
Your profile and online services, since that's the front end data type.
Okay. So, yeah, let's go high level. So we'll do all the services. So I'll just put in here services for right now, and that'll include like online services, Eagle, and your Gmail, right? Those 3. Is that correct?
Yeah, those last 2, I mean, you could practically light them on fire and reconstruct the data, but
Right.
online services, I mean,
That's
we don't have a record of you anymore. Sorry, you're no longer a student here.
yeah.
It says you failed the class, so you failed the class.
Exactly. Right. Take some investigation. And I tell students too, and this has happened on college campuses before, where students' accounts have been stolen or hacked or whatever, and then somebody did something malicious.
You could drop somebody, and then if they were in class, you wanted to got their password.
Right.
And then you're in their class.
Yeah. Well, in these cases, what I mentioned was, or what I'd heard, in the past, in the last couple of years, when I heard it on the news, was the students, before they're proven innocent, basically their career as a student, for the most part, is destroyed, because it does take months or sometimes a year or years to correct everything, and so it's one of those deals where your identity's stolen. You're almost guilty initially until you're proven innocent, with identity anyway, with identity theft, if that makes sense. And so this goes right to the root of identity theft, really. And as a campus and as a network society, hosting all the services here, are we doing the best we can do when it comes to password account policy? So the first one is services, online services, Eagle, email. Now that'd be a higher level. So who's attached to this, or what components are attached to these services?
Data.
What was it?
Your data.
Your data. So it'd be
Account information.
personal student data, right? Is that better?
Yeah.
We'll do student data. We'll do student data. So that's definitely, not to the personal level yet. This could be a global student data in general. What could we go next level under student data? Student data would be in general, student body data, right? What could be the next level down?
A level underneath student data?
Yeah, underneath student data.
Grades,
Yeah, I guess.
your accountant, your.
When it comes to email, or if you're not using legal the way you're supposed to be, for like socializing and whatnot,
Right.
if you have any sensitive information on there that you don't want, maybe your bank account, maybe pictures of you and your fiance.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So,
that's something that needs to be.
Let's just put like personal info, personal information, which could include all the above what you just mentioned. Social Security, account numbers, pictures, whatever. And so student data, personal information, a part of that is personal information of students, their records here on campus, a part of that as well. And then also, if you think about it, you're talking about their career as well. It could affect it. Could be part of that. Their career in general could be affected short term. So that's some assets and attributes, and that's a very rough estimate. We could build upon that and keep going and keep going and keep going. So like we've done here, services would be an asset, and the attributes of services, we put online services, email. Another asset was student data. Some attributes of that would be personal information, records, and career, their career information. So that's the first step. Second step is threat agents. Who is it or whom or what type of device or devices or software or whatever you want to talk about could be a threat against user account and passwords? Other students, okay, good. So we'll just put other students. Anybody else? What's some other threat agents that could come in and, get into someone's account? Get into somebody's account and do whatever. We got other students. What else we got? What was it? I'm sorry? Employees, okay, definitely. Employees. Can we, what about malware, viruses, anything like that could cause it? A hacker?
Somebody writing that type of program, phishing.
So we'll just put hackers and their apps or whatever, something like that. So other students, employees, hackers, and their apps, and anything else that could be a threat agent, something that could come in and cause anything malicious with your email or your account or your online services or whatever.
Hardware failure.
Okay, let's talk. That's good. Yeah, that could be it. Like hardware malfunction. I'll put in here malfunction. So say, I don't know, let's just say, for instance, I don't know, this doesn't happen, but say it could happen. Say, I don't know, the backups for the last month didn't work for some reason, and it wasn't, that's not going to be common knowledge for sure. And, oh, by the way, the servers that hosted all your data has now crashed and they can't be recovered. That's pretty critical. So you have a month worth of data that's lost, basically, of transactions, financial, your records. That could be bad. Okay, so that could be a threat agent for sure. Anything else you can think of? That's a pretty good list, so probably start with, right? You can add upon that.
It kind of falls under hardware malfunction since it can cause it, but environmental variables too. Literally physical. If you have bad weather.
Yep. No, definitely, yeah.
The roof springs a leak and the Active Directory server gets wet. That's kind
Yeah.
of a big problem.
Yeah, the act of God is what that's called. Act of God scenarios definitely would, be a threat agent for sure in anything we're talking about. So that's good. We have other students, employees, hackers, apps, hardware malfunction, weather of any type. Now let's go to the vulnerabilities. Okay, Then you're going to look at, okay, we know what the assets are, the attributes, we know the threat agents. Okay, now what's vulnerable? We're going to look at what are we going to look at to find out if it's vulnerable? What are we going to look at first, probably, in account password scenario? What are we going to look at first? And again, just throw something out. We're just going to we're going to write them down, whatever you say.
Password? Link the password?
How secure it is?
How secure it is? The link to the password?
Link.
Links.
How long? The link.
Oh, okay, the length, I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to put, we'll put in here the strength of the password.
Better. Password strength would be better.
Strength of password or lack thereof.
16-bit encryption versus 256.
Okay, so we'll put encryption. We'll put encryption strength. Could be a vulnerability. What else? Anything else you can think of?
Access to how secure is the server? Is it in a secure room? Is it secured?
Is there a hole in the roof open?
Yeah. Well, let me go. Let me go to the first slide. Right here, I want to draw your attention to this. What can we find out here, if anything? We know maybe you've not looked at it yet, but what are some things you could find out here that could affect, would be a vulnerability on account password policies? Like, for instance, when you first register as a student, is it common knowledge or fairly easy to find your password? If a student's never reset a password or set it up initially, is that a vulnerability? Is it easy to find out the steps to get a password? If a student, you could act as if you're some other student, right? If you knew their S number or their last name or whatever personal information you need to set a password online, is that fairly easy to do? Is that fairly easy to find that information to
All
do?
you need to know is their password, and that's it. There's no, like, security questions or anything like that.
Right, but if you're,
You know your password, that's it.
I mean, I wonder how many students actually never change their password once they initially set it up. You know what I'm saying? Because I know if you're a new student, the way it's supposed to work is, if I'm not mistaken, you go to online services to set your password. If you fail in some of the questions initially, you're forced to come on campus. They prompt you to say, hey, come on campus, bring your identification for someone to physically help you do this, okay? But let's say if a hacker came in on that first step and did everything right, knew the personal information about a student or students, which would be what? Last name, they need that. What else they need?
Last name and ID and then 2 security questions.
Last name, SID, and your SID, right? And then
Those,
secure.
you can, quite honestly, you can find those. You're not supposed
Yeah,
to-
those aren't, those, yeah. So your last name, student ID, and then you have to make up security questions, is that right?
Yeah, but there's a.
And it's
finite-
not about-
It's a preset number, just like with, Yahoo mail recovery or something.
Right.
What's your mother?
But it's nothing about you yourself. You have to create these, right?
I don't.
There's nothing about you person, right? Like, where do you live? What's your phone number?
No.
None of that stuff, right? It's
Mother's maiden name, your favorite sports team.
okay. So it's something you're choosing
But I
then.
mean, it's the kind of stuff, you could find it.
You could find that information. And so, yeah, I guess the question is, how easy is it to find students' name and account information, the rest number? And do some faculty maybe make that information public on a web page or on Eagle? Like, say, here's a spreadsheet of everybody's S numbers. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if that happens. I'm guessing it would. Yeah.
Like 2 weeks ago, I was in this class and the teacher, she brought up like everyone's S number along with their name. And I don't think that's right, because if we do that, then.
Yeah, you're right.
She bring it up on the
It could be a
phone,
FERPA violation for sure.
Everyone could see everyone's name and
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. And that's an issue too, because they're probably not the only ones that do that, I'm guessing. It's probably done other,
Well, you can get a person's S number off of, if you get it to their Gmail account, you can get everybody else's S number just by searching for
Yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah, you're right.
I didn't want to mention that, but that's.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one there.
Yeah, that's a huge security thing.
Yeah, because that one,
Because you type in their name and it'll give you.
Yeah,
their name
'cause their
address, and
alias-
Right below that, it gives their S number address.
their alias is their name, but their actual account is their S number, right? Yeah, that's right, isn't it? Alias is the name. So the email, what is it?
Email accounts or.
Email name is the S number.
Yeah, it's the student ID.
Yeah, you're right. And that's easily found, that information.
Say you can get into the Gmail, you can search for their name.
You're right, because if you log in as you and you do a search for whomever
It gives you
by
two
last
things.
name, it gives
It gives you the
their-
listing for their name.
their full name.
Email address, and it gives you the listing for their S number.
Yeah, that's a big vulnerability. Okay. All right, well, we can stop there on vulnerabilities. Right there's a big one.
That's why I didn't want
Whoa! Yeah, so right there is
Seriously, please.
students can do that already currently with Gmail, I guess. Just log into your Gmail account, type in any letter, right, and it begins to populate a list.
Start populating names with.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a vulnerability for sure. So we have strength of password, encryption strength, server access. Can we get into it? I think the big one on this whole list was probably this last one. Yeah, being able to access that through Gmail. Not to say it's not big for faculty to post that. That's definitely a big deal. But this is something that's easily accessed, from anybody that has any knowledge or wants to find out and wants to be malicious, basically. How are they going to find all this information out? Not too difficult to do, evidently. And if you think about it, if this was done in a summer months or prior to a semester rollout, right before
By a big term.
a term of whatever semester, and a hacker was to come in and do something like the midnight before, the first day, and do something like this to get into accounts
Walking
and
through the school, if he sees a
do some-
logged-in terminal,
yeah, if nothing else, just change everybody's password to something stupid or something, just to just to be malicious, not really hurt anything, but cause a abruption in IT and everyone else saying, I know my password, and I can't know, and then, literally the entire campus password are changed or something, and that could be something that could be done that wouldn't, it'd be like a challenge, I guess, for hackers to do something like that and to bring down the man of the organization for a day and halt all activity for half a morning or all day long for IT just changing passwords, basically.
Heck, my questions are what's your childhood pet and what's the name of your best friend when you were a kid?
Right.
And yeah, that's not exactly something you're going to find on Facebook. Probably.
No.
But if somebody, if some sociopathic nut job wanted your password, they could have a conversation with you and probably get you to tell them that.
Well,
you're not thinking.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess I'm not talking about you as an existing student. I'm talking about only focusing on, say you have, 5,600 names, and you find the 5,600 S numbers. How many of those 5,600 are brand new students have not yet went into the online services to set their password? How hard would that be to do that? I guess my point is you're not gonna be able to get a lot of them, all of them, but you can target those by just hitting each one of them and figuring out real quick if it's their first time in. So let's talk about decision making here. We have 3 decisions to make. You have 3 decisions to make once you go through your scenarios yourself. And again, you're going to be going through the same thing yourself, which is finding out the assets and attributes, threat agents, vulnerabilities, and you might do what I'm doing, kind of circle the ones you kind of think is big to you as you go through these, and then say, okay, is this something we can accept? This is going to happen. This is nothing we can really do about it. It's just going to happen. Is this something we transfer? And the transferring thing is really just shoving it off to something later. Maybe we'll deal with this next semester or next year, or when we get a new whatever, a new server or new whatever, we transfer it for a future date.
Well, I looked at the way I looked at the transfer thing is maybe you're doing a risk assessment for
your department, but the item that you need to change really isn't under your purview.
Exactly.
You need
That
to
could be it as well. Yep.
Transfer that issue to a different
Yeah, a different
and
department.
have them resolve
Right,
it.
right. This is not IT's issue, or this isn't the campus's issue. This is another entity's issue.
Yeah, that's the way I look at
It is like that. Yeah, and it could also be a time transfer as well. We're not going to deal with it yet because we don't have infrastructure to deal with it yet. We're going to transfer it to a different time frame or different whatever.
We have to do testing before we can roll it out.
Exactly, right. And so anything to do with transfer is just holding it off, like put it on hold basically. Yeah, we want to do something, but not yet, or not at this time. And then lastly, do you want, after looking at everything, is there something you can do to fix it? Is there something you can do to fix this vulnerability, to fix the threat agents, or at least stop it from happening as easily? And so that could be. Let's talk about that for a second. On the last one, let's talk about the fixing part. What are some things you could do right off the top of your head, number one, that would help with the account password scenario? As far as, let's just talk first on, let's nail a couple, which would be security. Somebody mentioned that, password security. What can we do for students to help them with this issue of password security, knowing a password, whether they're secure or not? Training, education of some type, right?
Whether their password is secure.
Yeah, how to make a secure password. What a secure password is, a definition of it. Here's what our rules for our passwords, stuff like that.
I like showing people how secure is your password.net.
Okay.
Because it's actually.
So it's like a tutorial thing, right?
No. It's actually a website with JavaScript in the background.
Right.
And you can read all their code. So I did before I started using it. But you punch in your password and it tells you how long it'll take a modern day computer to brute force it.
Okay.
And actually, for an administrator here, I showed it to them, and they tried punching in their 8-character password, and it said it would take about 4 or 5 days. And
so
they changed their password because of that.
So like a password, before you ever do any educating at all, say, hey, give me a password you currently use, or not that. Here's a website you can enter the password you currently use, and you can determine on your own whether it's a secure one or not. By that. If it's not secure, then maybe direct them to a website maybe or a tutorial to train them on what a secure password is.
The other thing too with that, with that specific tool, you can play around with it and say, okay, what if I add red after?
What's the title or the URL?
How secure is my password.net?
Okay, let me write that down.
You can enter in, here, I'll enter in my password. Good luck getting into the systems here that I have access to, 39 quadrillion years. But if I, just take a standard.
Is it .net? How secure is my password.net?
Yeah. There's one that actually more than fulfills Rock Rally's requirements, and an average desktop computer would take 39 days to crack it.
I like that. That's good.
We've got administrators who have passwords like that because it meets the
Yeah.
requirements. And
So if they don't, let's just say this would be on a tutorial page or whatever, or a beginning thing for students, or maybe even on the page where they have to set their password in, on the My RVC page, right?
Yeah.
So that before they get to My RVC ability to change a password, they have to go through a few steps. One would be knowing the definition, knowing if the password is secure that they're currently using.
I mean, we've got, there's systems that say if it's weak, medium, or, strong, but I think that it would bring it to the next level if, like Rock Rally and other places, were to actually get a license for this code, implement it, and say, just as a heads up, it would take somebody this long to guess your password.
So implement it in the actual setting up the password screen. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this can be hacked in 2 days. Oh, by the way, somebody's already hacked this, and they're hacking it in China right now. They're logging in with your account.
I just took that password that would have taken a month, and I added my name to the end of it, Alex. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's a million years. That's a lot safer with 4 more.
Yeah, definitely.
And
So,
how long was yours?
Mine was 4 quadrillion years, I think.
howsecureismypassword.net. Thank you for sharing that. It's on the podcast now.
5,000 years for one, but 2 nonillion years for my main one.
Yeah. Okay, so we've dealt with password now. Password tester, training. What are some other things we can deal with when it comes to our vulnerabilities? Let's go back to the vulnerability screen.
Move this S name from email.
Yeah, let's skip right to that one, the email name search. Okay, is there a way? Well, there is a way. We'll just say, we'll figure out what that way is. We'll just say fix the email search to where basically you search by name, you cannot see the S number.
Yeah.
That'd be an easy fix to me.
Easiest thing to do.
Yeah, fix the email search to where it's name only, right?
Number from email search.
Lynda.com makes it mandatory to make their password like 8-character length and then add 2 numbers and then a special character.
Okay, so rules, right? Some rules
You
then,
need,
like everybody has.
Linda, you need a special character and 8 characters with a capital, so let's see.
But we have rules here though for your guys' passwords, don't we? Don't they have rules?
The scary thing is, there's all these rules for passwords and stuff, but yet you only have a 4-digit PIN on your cards.
Well, I mentioned this on rules. Rules for passwords are, in a way, beneficial to hackers because if they know the exact rules of a password publicly,
This meets Lynda.com's requirements.
it's faster to hack. Yeah.
A day.
What is it?
This meets Lynda.com's requirements, and it would take my computer a day to hack it.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll do a distributed computer.
Tornado exclamation mark with a capital T.
Okay, what are some ways besides fixing the email search? Somebody mentioned also, what about education, enforcement of publicly posting students' S numbers? Correcto mundo? Right? There should be some, I mean, I'm guessing, personally, I'm probably guessing that whoever does this doesn't know. It's a big deal, right? So it's just it's education, right? So we just educate on FERPA, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Educate on FERPA rules, which isn't that difficult. FERPA rules are not that difficult, really. And educating not just faculty and employees, but also students. Students can also be in breach of FERPA laws. It's not just, the onus isn't only on faculty, administration, and employees. The onus is also on students. FERPA laws apply to students as well. You can get in trouble for, say, giving somebody, your neighbor, a sheet of paper that has students' names and S numbers on it. If you were to hand them that piece of paper, that is in breach of FERPA law. You are in breach of FERPA law by doing that. And so, yeah, that's a big one. So educating FERPA all around. Anything else when it comes to the email? So we talked about password tester of some type, a training for passwords, fixing the email to search only by name only, having some type of rules, more stricter rules when it comes to email, educating in FERPA. And you know, it could be a simple, how could this be simply implemented, say, at the beginning of every semester? What would be a simple implementation of all the stuff we've just mentioned on steps, well, for instance, 1, 2, 4, and 5, you know, which is basically what, education, password testing, and FERPA and rules. What are something you could do simply that all students have to go to this place anyway?
Mandatory, it's the mandatory, I can't think of the name.
There's the intro to Eagle that you have to take once.
Yeah, you have to take a test once to do Eagle thing, right?
Well, you have to do the test for Eagle, but you also have to attend
The EPS session, but those are both one-time things.
Right, they're one-time things. This, I think, would be beneficial every semester, a 5-minute, whatever, little web tutorial that you're forced to go through. It's a mandatory thing. Everybody has to do it. Faculty, employees, staff, students, whatever. Every semester you got to go through this. The first time you log in, the first week of class, the first time you log in, You have to go through this little tutorial, because you could update that tutorial each semester with new laws, new training, new password tools and tips to help people. Yeah, and then when you're done, you're done. You're good to go.
And if they don't do it, it's like a course that they have.
It's forced, yeah. It has to be forced. Yeah, you can't opt out of it. You have to, before you ever log into any system, whether it be Eagle, whether it be email, whether it be online services, you have to have went through this tutorial, did a little 5-question quiz at the end or whatever, done, right? And you have to pass it. I mean, not make it real difficult on people, but literally most people could probably get it done in 5 minutes. But it's something you have to go through and do. You have to watch a little slideshow, video, whatever, and at the end, have a quiz, I'm thinking, some type of 5-question quiz, where if you fail it, you watch it over again, do it again, till you get it right. What do you guys think about that?
I think they kind of mentioned that on like doing orientation about the password setup, password policy.
Yeah, they could mention it in password, but the problem with that is, and they might even do that now, I don't know, but they probably do. Yeah, but who cares? Really, if you're not forced to do it, who cares? Because the majority of students evidently don't know how to change a password, number one. They don't know what a secure password is, number two. And they're not tech savvy. So by doing this little tutorial, it's going to educate everybody. Granted, will people complain about it? Yeah, but you can make it really fun. You can make it like not a boring thing. It can be like a really cool video, flash, and a whole bunch of cool stuff. It can be one of our students put it together or something and make it really fun and cool. And just keep it updated each semester. In my mind, it'd be best to have a student project. Maybe we have like mass media here on campus. They could do a video, and we can implement the web class, top of the website, and a whole bunch of cool stuff we could do to it. Yeah.
Make it like
Question about how secure is my password?
Right.
Think about it. You're entering your password on this website.
Yeah.
I mean, are you using your real password stuff? So I mean, all these passwords are just going to one server. What
Yeah.
you're saying that no one can just say, oh, check this out. We got even passwords among passwords.
That is true, because I've heard of that. I've heard of sites like this exploit. They could exploit it. Evidently, they could find the IP address and all that good stuff.
It's all client-side JavaScript in the web page itself, right then and there. Nothing goes back.
But you know what?
But they can change it. Somebody could hack in and change it.
Somebody could check it. But I like your idea. I like his idea of hosting that locally on our campus. So if we had that capability to where students could, and I would feel leery of doing it myself probably, but if I had an app I could download on my local PC or Mac and run this, I wouldn't have a problem doing that at all. It'd be a simple download they could download. Now that might be something more secure and people wouldn't be like, kind of thing. But if it's a simple app they could download, it could be a phone app, it could be you can make a whole bunch of apps for it. They might already have them already, I'm guessing. I know they have a phone app for secure passwords.
You do a phone app for two-factor authentication.
Oh yeah, you can do any app, whatever this website does, you can make an app from it and load it locally. That would be a bit more, probably more secure. Definitely, I'd recommend that.
Make a Rock Valley authenticator app.
Yeah.
And do two-factor authentication.
Well, that's what Alex was mentioning, was doing that very thing, was using this technology to embed it to authenticate. Because if you think about it, if we're entering passwords already in our local system, we don't care about that. It's for our system to get it in. I don't care if this is integrated in the web page for our local system, because guess what? They already know my password because it's in the system. Then I'm entering it in. Hopefully they know it. The system knows it. So I don't mind it being on that web page of my site, but the third party thing might be a little red flag for some people. Not to say this website probably doesn't do anything with it anyway, but
How do you know?
yeah, you probably don't. It's a question, definitely.
Just like any website that you visit on the net, how do you know that it's a genuine website?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, you've always got to be cautious, that's for sure. But this technology is pretty cool to be able to implement it somehow locally for students to see, oh, by the way, this password you entered in is, can be hacked in 2 days or whatever, or 1 day or 30 seconds or whatever the case may be. But they'll be hosted locally on our servers.
Versus going out there.
Like a middleman encryption for like when you enter your password, like you enter it in here, it's encrypted, it's sent
Yeah, it would have to be the same encryption that we use to enter our passwords in. The same exact encryption.
Yeah.
Yeah, that same one. That would work well, I think. That'd be something that'd be pretty cool, actually.
Someone actually catches the password, whatever it's.
Yeah, and if they want to enter it in and it says it'll be hacked in a day, oh well. I mean, at least they've been told it could be hacked in a day, or whatever.
Yeah.
And you could put funny descriptives to kind of catch people's eye. Nothing, just like say, oh, by the way, somebody in China just could get in your account here because it literally takes 30 seconds to hack this password. Something like that.
Movie of somebody sitting there waiting for their computer.
You might not say that. You might get in trouble by saying somebody in China. You might be a little deflammatory there.
If they try and click continue, it shows somebody sitting there like a shadow figure, turns their computer on, starts hacking your password. Clock goes around twice. They have your password. They go in, then they go to your bank account, and you watch the digits right now. I mean, that might make you
We
think.
add patterns along with our characters and passwords.
Yeah, true.
You know how like your cell phone's got like the 8-dot pattern?
Right.
You can make your own pattern.
Right. Yeah.
So then you get your characters, and then you can just do a random pattern along with that.
That's
And
true.
you can, make it more secure.
Yeah, there's definitely, and that would be good to put in your guys' feedback. All these ideas would be great to put in your feedback because, you're going to come up basically with the same, you'll have some differences probably in the vulnerabilities, but as far as your solution for how are we going to fix this, you guys will have, these are all great thoughts to put in your response to this take home. So we've got password tester, we've got a training, we've got a fixing the email search, a search by name only, rules, educating FERPA. I'll put on here some type of forced tutorial that folks have to take at the beginning of every semester. Because I don't think it's good enough to just have a one-time thing. I think it should be something every semester.
You should put like mandatory.
Well, yeah, forced.
That's like just grabbing them behind the neck and saying, here.
Yeah, you're forced to do this. Mandatory is a nicer word for forced. Mandatory is the politically correct name for
If
forced.
you don't do it, you get shot.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so mandatory tutorial every semester, and then you can come up with whatever else you want to come up with as far as fixing this, because there's tons of other stuff too. I'm guessing like, okay, how easy is it for students to find out how to change a password? Do they know how to do that? Where's it on the website? Is it easy to find that information? Do they know how to do it? Should we make it mandatory to change a password throughout the semester time? Right now I don't believe that's the case. You can become a student, set your password up on online services.
Should they educate about how to do it?
Yeah, they need to be educated, I would think. So that would be something you could put in there as well, of how to change your password. And not only how to, but is it in a location that's easily accessible, which I think it is in a much better location than it used to be. Because I think it's in the My RBC page, if I'm not mistaken, how to change your password, if I'm not mistaken. But again, it might be buried somewhere in there. I don't know. Again, that's something for you to find out, because it does change a little bit each semester, and that's where that tutorial will come into good play, because if something did change, like placement of stuff or where things are at or rules, that tutorial will be a perfect place to put that at. And so you guys can come up with as much as you want to on that, because what you're going to be submitting to me, and I'm going to give you guys till next Thursday actually to do this, is the take home basically is to come up with a response. You're going to come up with a response just like we've done, and all I need from you basically is that last making a decision regarding what to do. So all the paperwork you do behind the scenes and write it on paper, however you want to do it, I don't need to see all that, but I would like to see the end result of what decision you made, why you made it, and what you're going to do about it, basically, what you suggest to do about it. And then what I do actually with this information each semester is I do give this information to the IT department, and so they will have your thoughts on what should be done, and I believe they're all good thoughts. They'll all be good things to implement. Now, will they implement all these? Probably not, but it's
Just the Gmail.
that's, to me, yeah. I have the opportunity to highlight things, and that would definitely be one I will highlight. That would be a good one to definitely highlight. And then whatever else ideas you guys have, because there has been over the years implementation of things you guys have suggested in this class from this assignment. So it is a valid, not only learning how to create assessments and risk assessment and risk analogy, but also being able to actually change something, real with your analysis. That's pretty cool, I think. You could have a part in that. So any questions on that? And so, but you'll submit it actually in week 9's Dropbox. So do not put your name in the Dropbox and submit it tonight. Leave it open till you submit your 1-page response or whatever, and then I'll grade it. And so, do I now? You already did already? I think you can do multiples. I think you can do multiple Dropbox submissions. I didn't lock it down to one. So yeah, you can do multiple. So if you did it already, don't worry about it. All right, so that's it. That's all I got. Any questions on it? Okay. Well, go forth and find out some good solutions for password policy scenario. I'm looking forward to your responses. I think they're going to be good ones.
Somebody's student ID number and root for it.
So then I just like ask random people. It's like you got 5 minutes to see if you can find the starting point.
Well, act like you don't know. Seriously, act like you don't know all this stuff. Like, hey, do you know how to change a password? Or where do I go? Can you show me on the website where to go? And see what they say. They might say, majority of them, I'm guessing, are going to say, I don't know. Call IT. I don't know. I don't care, or whatever. They might. You have multiple responses, and you could put that in your feedback. Like most students, really, they're clueless. They don't care. They don't think it's a big deal to share their passwords with each other, maybe, or whatever, or have an insecure password. You can put all that stuff in there, and so yeah, it's you'll definitely be enlightened by responses for sure. If you ask questions, you'll get responses.
Just hang out down the
Well,
Yeah.
See, you might get the tech savvy people down there. That's the problem.
You know where you want to go is a student center. The student center lab is a good one. The library.
Go to the one down here, because you might get the tech people that actually know something.
Yeah, you can go to the library too. There's a lot of students that hang out there, or even the coffee shop area.